Airport security of Reddit. What's the weirdest experience you had while scanning luggage? Saw a bag filled to the brim with all different types of spoons. Pulled it aside. Asked the passenger what the deal was. He looked me straight in the face and says he uses them to spank his wife in bed. It's the spoons. I think they misunderstood what people meant when they said spooning. TSA officer. Mom, I just got a look in your bag real quick. Oh, it's just my plug. It has electronics inside. It's just your soap. It's too big to go. I cannot make this up. The thing I tell new people is you can never be ready for what might happen every day. Elderly woman with a sword cane. She had no idea it was a sword. Her son was a service member and had sent it to her from the Philippines without mentioning what it was. A couple headed up to Alaska with a sink, complete with plumbing attached, in a large duffel bag. Hunter returning from Canada with some unlicensed kills. Unprepped and still bleeding severed muskox heads wrapped in plastic. Whole baggage system for half the airport had to be shut down and cleaned, along with a couple of our machines. One lady who spent the time her bag was in the X-ray screaming that X-rays weren't real, and there was a midget in the machine going through her bag to steal things. In cargo, an automatic grenade launcher built out of clear polycarbonate, so the arms dealer transporting it could show off its inner workings. Would have been fine, if it hadn't been undeclared and accompanied by a small box of grenades. The midget won holy LMAO. Tell me more. No, that's pretty normal. I'm the shortest guy, so they put me inside the X-ray with a flashlight when it breaks until the maintenance guy shows up. I push a button on my radio to make a beeping noise. I wasn't security, but I was the passenger. I put my pocket belongings in the front pocket of my bag as they recommend, and I put it through the metal detector. As it came out, they took it and the guy called his superior. Now, mind you, I travel a good amount for work, and I sensed something was off. Because he didn't have the regular business as usual look to him. Anyways, they opened the bag and a couple seconds later, they both started laughing hard. The guy came back with my stuff and told me that the way my keys and phone landed in the pocket, it looked exactly like a handgun on the X-ray. I used to work at Sydney Airport and we once found a 14-inch double-ended in the luggage of a couple from Turkey. The kicker was that both of the passengers were in their 80s. Chinese people on border security TV shows. Did you pack any food? No. Opens luggage 40 kilos of banned food items. A dead squirrel stuffed in a bottle of soda. No joke. This happened recently. How do you get a whole dead squirrel into a bottle? Unless it was in pieces. In which case I have a different set of questions. Not security but a passenger. This one time when I was 17 to 18 I was going through the Palm Springs airport security when my bag gets pulled aside by one of the officers after I walk through the scanner. The man pulls the bag off the belt, then looks me in the eye and asks, "Is this yours?" To which I reply, "Yes." "Is there anything inside that I should be concerned about?" Slightly confused I respond, "No sir, I don't believe so." He then opens the bag, rummages inside until he pulls out a small box and asks me, deadpan serious, "What is this?" At this point I pick up just how much this officer is on edge. He was so tense. I swear he looked ready to charge me if I were to do so much as itch my chin the wrong way. The intensity emanating off of him was palpable, and I do my very best to hold my poise as I answer him with a straight face. "That is a soap on a rope, sir." He proceeds to take the soap on a rope out of the box and I explain how my dad gave it to me as a joke gift for my birthday. Seeing his tension diffuse slightly, I ask what the problem was. Literally tells me that soap has the consistency of C4 and the hole in the top was suspicious where rope met soap, so it was flagged as a potential bomb threat. Shortly after realizing the lack of threat and obvious misunderstanding, they let me through and I rejoined my family, soap on a rope and all. My brother once found an entire goat in a suitcase. I think they were going to eat it. Human skull. Passenger claimed to be a brain surgeon and used it as a teaching aid. I'm not airport security, but I do have an interesting story. So I'm checking through airport security. In front of me was a woman in her 40s I assume. I only have my laptop as carry-on, so I grabbed 2 trays. One for my laptop, the other for my shoes, wallet, phone, etc. As I'm waiting for this lady to put her stuff in trays, she drops her purse. I'm not exaggerating whatsoever. About 100 condom packets fall out of her purse and spew across the floor. There were probably a lot more inside. Being the gentleman I am, I asked the woman if she needed help, and scooped up the condoms. TSA officers from all over were staring at her with wide eyes. Nobody said a word. Eventually we managed to get through and I never saw the woman again. When we were coming back from Afghanistan, a few of us were tasked to serve as customs-type people. We had to search bags for any non-authorized items. Things like weapons, war trophies, money, things like that. Anyway, it's hot and I'm on like my 10th group of folks. We're going through the whole spiel and I get to the part where I have them all turn their sleeping bags upside down and shake them out. Well, out drops this huge purple from this guy's bag. It's enormous and it's rolled to a stop in the sand at my feet. I'm speechless. I know this guy. Worked like 2 seats away from him for a year. We're locked in eye contact. His face is mortified. There's a dozen other soldiers all around dumping the bags. None have noticed yet. I just yell out, "Okay, pack it up," and walk away like I didn't notice. If this guy planted that to smuggle some out, then he earned it, 'cause I was not gonna mess with any more of that. We never spoke if it afterward. I'm not airport security, but one time I was in the security line with my parents and little sister and we got stopped because they found something in her bag. The person at the scanner opens my little sister's backpack and pulls out a rock the size of a grapefruit. He just looks at us and goes, "What's this?" And my little sister goes, "That's my pet rock." He put it back in the bag and told us we were good. She took her pet rock on the plane. My parents were totally mortified. In the early 90s, my family and I are trying to get back to the USA from Paris. At the airport they scanned all our luggage as part of the routine even back then. During the process the officials got pretty excited, upset, surprised we didn't speak much French and they spoke little English, but a number of them crowded around the monitor for one suitcase. They finally brought me over to the screen and pointed to an image on the X-ray. At the bottom of my wife's suitcase it appeared to be an outline of a pistol. As it turned out, it was my wife's curling iron with power cord rolled up just right. But I couldn't make them understand what I was trying to tell them, so I just pretended to curl my hair like I've seen my wife do with the thing. They started laughing and were so relieved it was nothing, so we were on our way quickly after that. Back when flying was actually fun. Not airport security, but when I was 7, I put my plastic dinosaur toy into the scanner in a mall. The dude thought I put my big pet lizard into the scanner and got scared. The funny thing is, the dinosaur was an Allosaurus, placed sideways. It looked nothing like a lizard through the screen, but I could see that his reaction was genuine. Some TSA agents had a nice laugh after figuring out the weird item in my bag was just a rather large burrito. Not security here, but I used to work as a baggage handler, now loading supervisor, and whenever we felt a vibration from a bag we had to get it inspected as it is a potential heat source and could start a fire. We cannot open it without security and the owner with us, local regulations, so it was always a hassle. But we always got big grins and everything when we felt it. 9/10 times it was just a body groomer or something like that. Learned that vibrating come in many different shapes and sizes thanks to that rare 1/10. I'm a baggage handler and we are allowed to just do it ourselves if we feel vibrating. Maybe we aren't. I work in Canada, but it does save a lot of fucking time to just deal with it myself. You never know when you're gonna find a bag full of rotating. No. A few years ago my neighbors had an absolute ton of toys shipped to their house. I know about this because my dog got a hold of the box before they did. Long story short, I came home from work to find a plethora of vibrators and plugs laying around my yard. There were dozens of them easily. There's a German security officer and bomb squad leader out there that can tell you the story of how I forgot I had a grenade-shaped lighter in my backpack as I went through the security checkpoint. I live where there is no Trader Joe's, so when I do visit friends out of state, I bring an extra suitcase and load up. My bag was flagged for inspection after going through the X-ray, so I'm standing there and the TSA officer takes out my JoJo's cookies, swabs the packaging, checks that it isn't, and shouts back to the X-ray guy, "Hey, Eric, it was the JoJo's." Not airport security, but when I was 8 I packed about 5 different toy guns in my suitcase because I asked my dad if we could play guns, as we called it, and he said we can later, so I figured he meant abroad. I gave everyone quite a scare LMAO. We were held up for an hour or two.